In another podcast, I shared with you the experience I had of instant healing. But there are times we experience God as the one that said, "My ways are not your ways, my thoughts are not your thoughts." The sovereignty of God is overwhelming. And I want to tell you that through it all, God is still there. God never leaves us nor forsakes us. Now, when we wedded, after the wedding, I became pregnant. I was expecting our first child, and he was born safely. He was a son. And we were, of course, very, very glad. Everybody rejoiced with us. And everything seemed to be okay until we visited France for holidays. And at that time, he was 1.5. And then he started falling while running. He was already running, very quickly. He walked very early. So my auntie said, "That's not normal. There's something wrong with that child." And then she also said, "No, he doesn't look like he's seeing well." And I thought, that's bad. Can't you say something good about my child? So we visited the doctor about the falling. He examined the feet and said, "It looks like there's a problem with one of the feet, but as you go back shortly to Nigeria, you better pursue the matter there." So we went back to Nigeria, visited the orthopedic hospital, the pediatric section, and they said, maybe it's the tendon. And then I just leave the details, but imagine that we were going there every fortnight, every week, traveling 70 miles to go to that teaching hospital from the university. And they checked and said, "Yeah, maybe we're going to put a cast on him." And then they put a cast on the leg and waited. When they removed the cast, the situation was even worse. So the surgeon was, the consultant was confused and said he doesn't know what it is, that is strange, that maybe we have to cut the tendon, maybe it's the problem. And while he was considering that, the second foot started giving way. So we were very annoyed. We stopped trusting the consultant and decided to try the proper orthopedic hospital, the National Orthopedic Hospital that was nearby in the same town. So we went there and we saw the consultant, and he said, "It's not a matter of orthopedic problem. It's not a problem like that. You have to go back to the teaching hospital." And we said, no, we don't want to see that consultant again. So he said, "No problem, I will send you to another consultant." And that one examined our son and said he has to take him to the hospital and run tests. So we stayed there for, I don't know, it looked like forever. We stayed and stayed. I stayed with him. And people were saying, "What is wrong with the child?" And I used to say, "No, it's nothing." And they said, "Well, cannot be in the hospital for nothing." I said, "My son is not sick." Then eventually the consultant called us and said, "I don't know how to say that, but he has a degenerative disease, and there is absolutely nothing I can do. But if you want to go abroad for checks, I can write letters." So we did. And then they confirmed that the matter was one of these orphan diseases that had not been investigated. We were the first case that they saw, but they had read somewhere in research literature about such things. So that situation went on for 6 good years. And it went from one foot to the next, one leg to the next, one thigh to the next. Then our son stopped talking, stopped seeing, he became blind. Then he couldn't sit anymore. Then his muscles started melting and disappearing. And it went on and on until the disease reached the heart, and he just died when he was 7. Now, all that long time, Christians from our prayer group, we are praying fervently, saying, God, you healed so many people, you can heal him. They put their heart and soul into it. They really believed. And they were saying, God will heal him, God will heal him. And the day he died, in the morning, he died in the afternoon. The day he died in the morning, God told me, and I know it was God, I've healed him. And I was so glad. It was the first time I really heard God saying that. Before, I just believed, but that time I heard God's voice. So I went even to church, which I wouldn't do normally, in the middle of the week, and told God, thank you so much for healing my son. Thank you for what you have done. Thank you. I thanked him profusely. Then he died in the afternoon. And I went back to God and said, but you said you healed him. And you know, he said, yeah, I've healed him. And that arrested me. And I said, wow, indeed. But when I tried to share that experience with other Christians later, I became a stumbling block. They couldn't accept the matter. It took one couple 6 months to come and visit and apologize for the wrong way they took my testimony. And I want to encourage you, God can still heal. He can still heal instantly. But sometimes, for one reason or the other, best known to him, he doesn't. That is, he doesn't heal the body. But he always heals the soul, the spirit, and he always heals the body eventually, because in heaven there's no sickness. And we lose the fact that our life is not limited to this here and now. We are eternal. Once a child is born, he is going to live forever and eventually leave this earthly world to go to heaven or to hell, as the case may be. And in heaven, there is no sickness. So those that have passed through the other side, they are healed, and they are well, and they are rejoicing. And we should not look at this life as those that are unbelievers. If you really believe Jesus Christ, if you really trust God, then look at the broader picture and continue thanking him for what he has done. Whether somebody lived 7 years, 1 year, 1 month, 100 years, it's only God that knows why. We have a mission on earth. Sometimes our mission is short, sometimes it's long, but it's up to God. So ask him to help you number your days and apply your heart to wisdom. Do the best every day so that you don't regret anything at the end. Bless you.